Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a process video with my June Turtle Crafts kit. I am on the design team for Turtle Crafts and I'm going to be doing 2 videos a month now that are process videos with these turtle craft kits. So this kit, if you followed my Instagram stories, you'll have seen a sort of small unboxing of this kit. And it's mostly kind of rainbows and really gorgeous bright stripy papers. So today I'm doing a fun kind of Mexican themed layout, and I found this hilarious and childish cut file from Love SVG cut file shop, which is they do loads of free cut files. This was an example of one of the free cut files. I will leave a link to the shop down below. If you have a cutting machine, then you might find it useful. So I got this fun crazy little cactus here. He is so cute. I love his little moustache, and I am just using some tacky glue from Hobbycraft just to stick all of these bits and bobs on. He's got a little sombrero to the side there that I'm going to stick on as well. I just cut this out of paper from my stash, so I had some kind of green, red, yellow and orange paper, scraps that I already had that I just used to cut this out as kind of one big embellishment that's going to be on this layout. Yes, this is this picture is from a Mexican night when back at university. So I seem to be going through a phase at the moment of scrapping old university pictures. So I'm going to start using this element from the kit, which is an American Crafts paper. It's a rainbow stripe with a wood grain kind of pattern to each of the coloured stripes, and I'm going to be cutting each stripe out here. So I'm going to use every colour on here apart from this kind of grey or more neutral kind of wood grain here, but every other colour I'm going to use. And I was kind of inspired for this layout by piñatas, so I thought, oh, what's Mexican themed, like a piñata Mexican? So I was thinking fringing, that is the way forward. So I layer up these pieces of paper and I attempt to fringe all of the pieces of card together, which obviously my scissors, although they're hardcore, would not cut through those. So I did them in little groups of 3. So I'm just cutting slightly into the paper, leaving obviously it attached at one end, and that end is where I'm going to be sticking my double-sided tape to stick it down to the page. And this was quite a quick process actually, because I could layer the strips up on top of each other. It didn't take me as long as it might have done otherwise. I was not regimented with this at all. If you have a fringing pair of fringing scissors, then you'll probably get a much more even look than I got, but I didn't care that much really. I don't think anyone's going to be looking that closely at my layout, so I'm just starting to floof. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. Great. I'm just starting to kind of floof the edges of these fringes as well. Floofing is a new word that I've created to describe the floofing of fringing. So just cutting into these last few bits here. I do off camera add 2 more coloured sheets of paper, a green and a kind of sunflower yellow as well, because I didn't have quite enough to go across the page and I wanted it to fill from one side of the page to the other. Here I'm just kind of suggesting how this might look. It's not where it goes in the end, and I don't bother to add a white border to it because I already had naturally a white border from the photo. So I'm just kind of having a play around at this point, and then I decide that the white is probably going to be too stark. So I've got some acrylic paints out. The first acrylic paint that I have here is Spring Green, which is an Artiste colour, and this one's by Americana and it's called Bahama Blue. Bahama Blue, yes. And then I'm adding quite a lot of water to these because I'm literally just going to splatter across the page. I am going to do this at the end as well, because unfortunately what happens is that most of the fringing covers the splatters that I did on this page. so perhaps wasn't the most well thought out, despite me attempting to be thoughtful with it. Didn't work out that way. So splattering, splattering, splattering. And then I think I'm going to do the same with the blue. I'm trying to get some big blobs on, so I'm getting lots of water and then kind of squeezing the end of the brush in an attempt to get some really big blobs to kind of appear on that page as well. It's quite a relaxing thing to do, actually, make splatters, I think. I did kind of ruin my white background though, which is a bit annoying, as in the background of my video. Okay, and now I'm going to stick my fringing down. So I'm just adding double-sided sticky tape to one end, obviously the end that is not fringed. Oh, I realised here that I had done it wonky, so I straighten it up a little bit. Didn't worry too much. Start the floofing process, and then I'm just going to add each of the colours of fringe. I do kind of skip ahead in a second to the last two pieces, so I'm kind of layering it up so that the next piece of fringing touches the end of the previous piece of fringing. That seemed to work perfectly for me to get this across the page. The final one here, the red bit is going on, and then we're done with our fringing, and then I'm just going to run my fingers all over the top to kind of really bring out that texture, and it's such a lovely look. You don't have to do this, you can keep it flat to the page if you like, but I think it's a bit hard to tell that it was fringed without kind of zhuzhing it. So I've kind of decided on where I'm going to place these. The picture's going to end up almost in the centre with the cactus to the left-hand side? Yeah. I'm such a terrible person. I still don't know my left and my right, and I'm in my 30s. I should be so ashamed of it. I'm not, but I should be. And I've added a load of foam tape to the back of the picture. I'm not going to add any more layers to this picture because I feel like this is a busy enough layout already, and I've hardly finished. So I'm just going to stick that down, and then I'm going to add some more foam tape to the back of this cactus as well. So I also add it to his hat, so it's going to be nice and kind of pronounced off of the page as a real sort of focal point for this. It turns into quite an insane layout, actually. It wasn't really what I intended, in the sense that I didn't intend for it to look mental, which is kind of how it looks, but it is definitely really good fun. And it is, I suppose, a heavily themed layout, but you could easily take some of the same principles here and apply them to whatever it is that you're scrapbooking about. So you could add a big cut file over the top of fringing in whatever colours you liked. Even pattern paper would be really nice as well, as to make up some of those fringes. And then I've got the Amy Tangerine puffy stickers from the kit, and I'm just kind of placing them around. They end up in totally different places. I just kind of pick out the ones that I think I want to use. So there's a little cactus, a flower, a tiny bird which stays on the cactus's hat, and a butterfly as well. I'm using the thicker set from the kit to write my title, which is going to say "The Good Stuff." So I really like this one here. I'm just trying to work out where to put it, and I decided to make almost like a cross on the page, so the fringing goes from left to right and the title is going to go from the top to the bottom. So there's almost sort of like a cross. So the and good are going to be at the top there, and stuff is going to be at the bottom, and I'm going to add the arrow at the top as well. And there we go. I like that it's overlapping the picture a little bit, overlapping the fringe is overlapping the title, just adds quite a lot of interest to the page. And then I'm going to add that arrow up there, and I'm also going to add one of these puffy hearts, and it's the bright red one because it works perfectly with the colours in this layout. And then I'm going to use these 7 paper letters, which are by Studio Calico, and I'm going to spell out Mexican night, and I try and use some colours that are lighter from these papers here, so papers from these letters. So I've got some red, some coral, some yellow, a kind of nude colour I suppose, I don't really know what, like a pale yellow, and I'm going to arrange those along the 2 darkest fringes. I was a little bit concerned at this point as to whether or not I had kind of overdone it with the lettering, but I really did want to spell out Mexican Night because this photo depicts kind of the start of a tradition amongst myself and my friends, and despite our growing years and the fact that many of them have children now, it's still a tradition. We get together, we have a Mexican themed dinner, slightly more tame nowadays, sometimes not but generally slightly more tame, and so I just really couldn't believe that I'd never really documented this ever before, but it's kind of like quite a common thing for us to get together and do this. So spelled out Mexican Night, and I think that's nice. Brought the reds and the pinks and the yellows to that side of the page, and then I'm not really sure what to do here, so I add a doodly border. So I don't know if you have a thing, like if in doubt, add doodles. It just seemed like too much white space, but I think that's because I've covered all those splatters up, so annoying. And then I'm kind of placing a few of these Amy Tangerine puffy stickers, and they move around again, so I couldn't really decide where to put them. I kind of wish that I'd used like a brighter colour around the edge, so I do try writing the journaling with a red pen, and I kind of think after really probably should have done the doodly border in like a red or a green, maybe like a bright green might have looked nice. So I'm just journaling here to say that this was the first of many Mexican nights, how much fun it was. It was just really, really good night, and this was from way back when, sort of university age. So what is that, like so many years ago now? 12 years? So depressing. 12 years. My goodness. And then I do something insane, which I'm doing right now. I'm writing the date, September 2007, and I'm like, why have you done that? It looks terrible. And then here I am contemplating the choice I made, and decide to just add more journaling so it seems a little bit more like it was intentional. I mean, it was intentional, but I don't know what I was thinking. I couldn't be bothered to get the date stamp. So I add some lines, and I think it's fine. I think I kind of salvage it. It's not a big deal. Moving on. So I'm just going to give it another little floof there to make sure it looks pretty textured, and then I think I'm just going to add some splatters again, I think. Oh no, I've added these enamel dots first. So these are One Canoe 2 enamel triangles, which again came in the kit, and I'm going to use some blues and yellow, I think, to kind of bring the colours across the page again from the other side, because there's not much blue the cactus side in comparison to the opposite end. And now it's going to be splattering time, I'm sure. Yeah, so I've got the spring green and the Bahama blue back out again, and I'm going to really wet them down and splatter them all over the page. So what I actually managed to do is splatter it on the hat of the cactus, and I end up with these 4, look, you can see them there, perfect dots that have gone in an arc following the shape of the hat, landing on each of the stripes of the hat. I mean, I couldn't have done that if I'd have tried. I'd prefer it without them there, but it's happened and I'm not going to worry about it. And then I'm going to do the same and add the blue. So I've used tons of stuff here from the Turtle Crafts June kit. It's a really great kind of UK kit subscription. The kits are around £25, and you get a lot of product in that. So around 10, I think it's 10 papers and so many embellishments, stamp sets, all kinds of stuff. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and if you're interested in Turtle Crafts, then have a look at the links down below.